It's time for our local business review. We've got Wendy Hendricks online because she's like, oh, I've got my little dog today. So you should have brought your dog. We love dogs here, Wendy. Hi there.
I will definitely bring him. He would be a special guest.
Special guest next time. What's your dog's name?
Jax.
Jax. Yeah, that is so
He's
cute.
a little Shih Tzu.
I thought you were going to stop. We all thought that you weren't going to finish the Shih Tzu. He's a little Shih Tzu. That's wonderful. Okay. You're funny. All right, let's introduce our other guests. We got Barry here from the SBDC. Barry, thanks for coming.
Thank you, as always.
And you brought a very special guest with you today.
I did.
Tell me about Mike.
I brought Mike Forsberg from Forsberg Investments. I said, Mike, you need to be on the show. Mike and I go back over 40 years. Our wives used to work together at North Central Labs, and there's no secret about that. And we've always stayed in touch, and I'm a client of Mike's. And then when I started at the SBDC, I did a project. I had some students do a project for Forsberg Investments. And when I invited Mike on the show, I said, Mike, do you want to be? We promised each other, because anybody that knows us and they go to chamber meetings, we're known to do some friendly insults back and forth. But we promised each other that we need to behave when we're on your radio show, Kelly.
Oh,
so with that, no banter.
No banter.
With that being said, I think Mike has a great story. I mean, I remember when you went out on your own and started Forsberg Investments, and
I'm excited about something, Mike, because you and I both graduated from Bemidji State University.
Oh, well, then I'm going to back away. And Kelly, take it away.
Well, yeah, I went there for broadcasting, of course, mass communications, and spent my time in that department. But Bemidji was a great college.
Yes, yeah.
I loved it there. And it was a peaceful place to study, because we're right on the lake and we had all the trees.
Yep.
I'm sure there was a lot of fun going on, too. But
a lot of fun.
So, Mike, I mean, you were born and raised here in St. Cloud. Of course, you went to school in Bemidji and studied social studies and had a concentration in history. But now you are president of Forsberg Investments and Insurance with all kinds of years of experience in the investment and insurance field. How did you decide that that's what you wanted to do?
Well, I'll go back here a little bit. We were living in Duluth in the 80s, and I started in the life insurance business in Duluth at a time when it was economically depressed, and I was cold calling because I'm a native of St. Cloud, so I didn't know a lot of people there. And so I worked for a couple of insurance companies. I transferred back here in the 80s also, and things got a lot better in terms of contacting people.
Sure.
And then I picked up my first investment license was a Series 6, which enabled me to offer mutual funds inside of insurance products, but kind of limited. So that's when I got my first taste of the investment world. And then I picked up eventually a Series 65, which allowed me to do managed accounts, and I can get into a little bit about what that's about. And then also a Series 7, which allows me to offer general securities, interesting investments like UITs and ETFs, unit investment trusts, and exchange-traded funds. So little by little, I became much more involved with investments than insurance. So in 2003, I went fully independent, and since then, we've built a nice practice here in St. Cloud, and it's been
and you
good.
just continue to you just love to learn more and more, because I'm sure that changes, right? Just changes as time changes.
Changes is an understatement. The investment industry has undergone enormous changes over the last few decades.
Yeah, and so it's always something you got to really keep on top of to know what's happening in the world.
Yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
Wow, we found out that you love to ride bike too. How do you have time to ride bike when you're trying to stay on top of all the investment stuff? Does scare me. Numbers scare me. Like I can read those numbers on the wall, and that's about it. So when I'm going to invest, I need to count on someone like you to help me with that stuff. And that's basically what you do, right? You
Correct.
understand that, and if people are looking for someone they can trust in the area to say, hey, you know what, I need to do some investing. I really don't know much about it. Can you guide me in the right direction? Is that sort of what you take on?
Yes, and our the way we do business is a little bit different. We do very serious work, but we do it in a relaxed and informal setting. We have I'm the advisor, and then my spouse Julie Forsberg is the administrator. We have an administrative assistant, Julie Fournier. Gets confusing. And then we also have another assistant, or we're replacing her at the moment. Last week was last week, and she was a student and got an offer to go elsewhere.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So, well, let's talk about this a little bit. I mean, you have had quite a history, decided to go into investing. Did you always want to own your own business, or did just things start to happen? You thought this makes more sense for me to do this on my own?
Yes. When I got my first investment license, I started thinking about at some point going independent. And so we have been independent since 03. December 15th of 03 is when we moved into our present location, which is at 99 10th Avenue South in Lake Park.
Okay.
And so, you know, I became more and more of a small business owner. And so we're at a point now where we have a great deal of freedom on how we do business. You know, we can... Our first meeting with people generally is very just very relaxed and just, you know, talking.
Yeah.
And then, but see, where I'm going with this is that we're in a setting now and have been for 18, 19 years, where we are small business owners, and we have the freedom to do things the way we like, the way that we feel is best for our clients.
And when you're a small business owner, you probably have a little bit more freedom than if it's like a big corporation.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which can be very beneficial to your clients.
Yes. Yes.
You really watch out for their best interests.
Yeah. We don't have to have people suggesting that we do things in certain ways or offer certain investments over others.
Okay.
So we cherry pick. We're independent. We can go anywhere we want for investments, and so we just basically choose from the best and tailor that to what our client's specific risk profile and concerns and objectives are.
So when did you know it was the right time to go out on your own? I mean, you kind of sound like you guys sort of came to a point where you're like, is this the time? I think this is the time we should do it. You know, in 2003, it seemed like the right time. Did you just take a risk, or were you like, you know what? Yeah, this is definitely when we should be doing this.
It was probably in the 90s at some point. I was thinking a lot about heading in that direction, but it just took a while to really take the leap.
Yeah, to make sure that I imagine all the thoughts that go on in your head before you do that. I mean, you want to make sure that you're in the right place, that you have enough variety of things that you can keep going, looking. And I'm sure that you're the kind of person that was looking at all of those different avenues to make sure that you were going to be very successful and help your clients.
Yeah. And I think when anyone is considering going into a small business, if you give it a lot of thought and have a strategy and think about it for a while, it generally turns out very good.
Yeah. What were some of the biggest challenges for you think, going into business for yourself?
The risk factor.
Yeah.
You know, we're dealing now with wages, overhead, that kind of thing.
Sure.
But, you know, the risks and the rewards, you know, there's sayings about this. The greater the risk, something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
The greater the reward.
Yeah,
I think that is it. The greater the risk, the greater the reward.
Sounds good.
What is it that you enjoy most about owning your own business? I mean, you seem like a very happy person. You love to ride bike. It seems like, I know that owning your own business can be very time consuming. I do know that, but is there a time when it kind of switches where you get a little bit more time back for the investment that you put in?
Well, some days, and we've been very, very busy lately, you know, post-COVID, finally.
Finally.
Where, you know, as a small business owner, I have the freedom to get to the office sometimes before 7 o'clock, and sometimes
Lucky, right?
find myself there in the evenings also. But it's my choice.
Right, it's your choice.
But I also, I have a bicycle in my vehicle right now, and I'm hoping that at 4 o'clock I can be on my bicycle leaving St. Joe on the Wobegon Trail.
I love it. I love that.
Yeah.
And that's one of my favorite places too. So we'll have to ride.
4 o'clock today,
Finally.
Wendy.
He's got you there. 4 o'clock today.
St. Joe, the train station.
I love to bike. I even named my bike. Her name is Ruby.
Ruby? Oh.
Yes.
Ruby and Jax. She names. Do you have a car name too for your vehicle? Probably. Not yet.
I plan on bringing my puppy with me biking. I got to figure that out.
Put him in the basket.
Basket, yeah.
You have to name your car, Wendy.
Yeah, we want a car name here pretty soon.
Yes, I mean, I have one named Precious, and I think you know which one it is.
Yeah.
My wife gave that name to that car because I had it before I was married, so you know which one.
Oh, that is
Precious.
so
Which
funny.
one that is, yeah.
Yeah, sometimes she feels like she's second to Precious. You know, they love that car so much.
Don't say that on air.
I wonder.
I have a question for
Yeah,
Mike.
go ahead.
Just kind of following up on our, the businesses we've been profiling. You mentioned the past few years. How did COVID affect your business? And going forward, what are you seeing with your clients?
Well, pre-COVID, we've always, most of our business takes place in person, in our office, around the conference table. And we were essential during COVID, so our office didn't shut down, but people just were not eager about getting together face-to-face, and were tended to put off a lot of decisions, including investment decisions. So it was a little bit slow for a while, but like I say, this year now, it's just we're doing very well again.
Making up for lost time, maybe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that's wonderful. Are you seeing that? I know in my work with commercial real estate, Zoom became a part of my daily life and still is. Are you seeing that with your clients as well, or what's the ratio of kind of coming back to in-person versus virtual?
We are Zoom free again.
He wants the in-person Zoom free.
But we were having Zoom meetings, not to a great extent. We did a lot more by phone. But yeah, we did. We had. So we were set up to do Zoom, so we did some of that anyway.
Mm-hmm. But you very much like the
person
person-to-person contacts. You can talk to people,
Yes.
see them face-to-face. What is some advice that you would give to other people who are considering starting a business? Because we have business owners on every week. Everybody's got a little bit different perspective, and it helps people so much to be able to put these pieces together if they are trying to make a plan.
One of the things that I see is that, well, like I say, before we went independent, we thought about it for quite a while, and didn't rush into it and had a plan. I see some people, all of a sudden decide, well, I like, I'm trying to think of an example here.
Making pizza.
Making pizza, let's say. Yeah, so they just jump into it. They open, a facility, get all the, the ovens, et cetera, and have overhead. And then, maybe realize that, there are a lot of pizza places in town here.
Right.
And I'm wondering maybe it's at the saturation point. Not all of them make it. So I see small businesses going into a strip for maybe a year or so. And it might be a type of business where there just isn't the customer base that it should have. And then all of a sudden, they're closed.
Well, and that's kind of where the SBDC can come in and be very helpful, right? If you run an idea, say, hey, we've got this idea. I want to do a pizza place. And maybe we're just using this for an example, but they can come to you and you can help them with facts and figures about our area.
Like I say, Mike and I've been, we've been acquaintances for 40 years. And he's successful. Mike is a successful small business owner, but it just doesn't happen overnight, especially in the investment business. And then deliberating, am I going to really stand out? Because there's not a lot of people that can put their name out there and say, Forsberg Investments. I'm an agent for XYZ company. That's very, very common. But to stand alone and say, I'm Forsberg Investments.
Exactly.
But it's been a marathon for you. It's not a sprint, but you are not beholding to, like you said, the program of the month you're not in a franchise. You are truly an independent investor. And you leverage relationships and the low-key approach to let's see what you got going on in your life and how we can fit in to maybe help you.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, Mike, I guess we've only got a couple minutes here left. First of all, I want to thank you for coming on the show, sharing a little bit of
My
your
pleasure.
story. If people say, that guy sounds like a pretty good guy, I might want to contact him and talk to him about maybe I should be investing or what I should be doing, because I don't know what I should be doing. How would they get a hold of you? Is it a phone call, online?
230-8300, and we are at 99 10th Avenue South in Waite Park.
And are you open? I mean, do you prefer they call you and you schedule a meeting?
We prefer appointments, but we're in a strip, so it's kind of a storefront type of practice.
Okay.
So we do get people dropping in, but we prefer to work by appointment.
Sure.
Our office hours are 8:30 to 4:30, but like I say, last week I was there at 6:45.
Of course you were.
Yes.
Give us that phone number one more time, Mike.
230-8300.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
It's Mike Forsberg, owner of Forsberg Investments. Barry, thank you for being here.
Thank you, Kelly. It's always fun.
And Wendy, thank you. And your little dog, too.
Yes, I'll bring him in.
Sounds great. Wendy Hendricks of Agency North Real Estate in Sartell, too. And Barry, of course, is with the SBDC. Got a business idea? You might want to stop by and talk with Barry about your ideas and see where you think they can go.